Hello there, and welcome to Dharma Science Radio. My name is Ian, and I'm here to provide you with the most foundational awareness upon the human design system and how to interpret a body graph that I possibly can deliver. Today we're talking about a musician that I have had deep appreciation for, especially in my youth. The band Evanescence is one of the first bands I ever listened to and actually gathered the music of when I was a young child. Because her voice, Amy Lee's voice, is simply so beautiful. I was absolutely drawn into her voice and I could not shake it. And yet I know she was deeply troubled as a person. And so first off, I'd like to say, for any of you who are immediate descendants or relatives of Amy, if you would like this to be taken down, then let me know, because I don't wish to air any dirty laundry without honoring the legacy to the best of my ability. And so this is my way of doing that. Without further ado, let's dive into the chart. Now we see we're dealing with somebody with a defined throat. We can see that this 1156 is the first thing that draws me in. These ideals, this communication, this channel of curiosity, the design of a seeker and a searcher. Part of that beautiful, abstract, belief system, ideal-based function is, I believe, what drew me to her voice so very much as a child. And so her profile is that of a 5-2. We see over here the 26-5, the 45-5 in the personality. We see somebody that people expect the best from. We see somebody that people expect the savior from, that people expect real practical deliverance from. The fifth line is always receiving positive expectation. And then in the unconscious, we see the 6 in the second line, and we see the 36 in the second line. This is somebody who is a natural at what they do, somebody who can be a hermit and they can really appreciate their alone time, somebody who can be called out for different roles and purposes, and being a 5-2, somebody who can actually kind of call themselves, in a sense, in response to life and recognizing what their calling truly is. And well, if it didn't relate to music, I would be awfully surprised, because that voice was incredible. And so the thing about the 5-2 profile is that they're dealing with the projection field in a way no one else can really understand. All the expectations, all the projections, all the opinions, all the thoughts that people have are deeply impactful upon a person with a profile like this. People always have expectations. People always have projections. Can you live up to them? Do you even want to live up to them? These are important questions to be aware of if you find yourself with a profile like this. And so right away we know we're dealing with proving one's worth. Whenever we see this undefined ego center right here, we know that we're dealing with somebody who does not have a fixed sense of self-worth. We're dealing with somebody who needs to receive the approval from others. Over here in the solar plexus, we're dealing with somebody who needs to avoid conflicts, who needs to avoid the problems, who needs to avoid the truth, ultimately. And how do they avoid the truth? Well, by proving their worth about things that don't matter, because at least then somebody will give them a direction in life. This need to have direction, this need to have consistent direction is what happens in the mind of somebody with an undefined G center like this one. When the mind is amplified, when the mind rules the life, we get the worst of everything. Doesn't matter how beautiful you are on the inside. If you take your mind seriously, you get the worst of everything, and it'll tear you all the way down to hell. It doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care about you. All it cares about is being right. And if you have a defined ajna, then you have access to certainty within your own construct of reality. then you have a specific way of seeing life. And this woman here, Amy, she had a belief system that was backed up by details and her ability to retreat into her own inner world and make sense of it in her own way and communicate what she does or doesn't have. And what she doesn't have is a defined ego. What she doesn't have is a sense of self-worth. So please bring me to life. I can't be alive without you. You are the direction, you know? It's so blatant and obvious in the beauty of the music and the horrors of the life, how influential these charts are upon us. The horrors that happen when we get identified with the amplification field of our openness. You see this 36th gate over here? I see the gate of crisis and the line of support, this need for support in times of crisis. And the 6th gate, the line of the guerrilla. This is about guerrilla warfare, the willingness to really, get down and dirty and get messy with the friction and the conflict of life. And so in spite of the fact of wanting to avoid all the problems, when the problems happen, her body is seeking to A, find people to support her in those problems, and B, do whatever it takes, no matter how cruel or disgusting it is, to get by. The 26th gate here in the ego, this is a gate of manipulation of memory. This is the ability to remember only what serves or only what doesn't serve your longevity. The whole purpose here is to remember what's valuable and be able to communicate it to the spleen. However, there is no 44th gate here defining the transmitter. Without the 44th gate, there's just this 26 that's trickster energy, that's manipulation energy. Not always so pretty to have somebody who manipulates the truth for what their mind thinks is their own benefit, but really the truth is simply being manipulated in order to prove one's worth, avoid problems, and find direction wrapped up in things that don't matter. And don't you know, if her birth time is truly correct as I was given it, she's a personality right, and a design left. This is my personal variable configuration. So there's a fractal line connection here. There's soul family, I can feel the pain. I can feel the sorrow. I know what it's like to have a personality that simply wants to take control. And yet, whenever the personality tries to be strategic, the unconscious design takes over and shows you who's boss. It's not your thinking mind. It's not who you think you are. You can't compete with those strategic people out there. Your body is in charge, and it knows how to take care of you, if only you trust it. If only you trust it. And without exposure to the human design system, I have a hard time believing anybody knows how to trust their body. Not to the depth their mind really needs to see in order to surrender to the truth and the mechanics. There's simply so many details at play. Like if somebody simply tells you, you don't have to prove your worth, you were born perfect, you can't get in the way of that. That could sound nice, and then your mind still plays its games, it still plays its tricks. The fact that you know fact from fiction doesn't make your mind any smarter. It doesn't make your mind stop pretending to be the inner authority and causing self-abuse and self-harm. Every time our mind tells our body what to do, it's a fundamental disrespect to who and what we are, fundamentally. These bodies are intelligent. They can live their own life.
The biggest problem I was having was getting my head wrapped around all of the content and all of the information held within the human design system. Ian really made it simple for me to engage my curiosity for one, but made it approachable enough to where I felt like I could immediately get value out of the conversation and immediately start applying things to my day-to-day life where it didn't seem like some big puzzle I had to solve. It was an immediate solution to something that I was dealing with in my life. How am I going to apply this with any sense of reality? And he made it so simple and so easy that I have now been on another year and a half since that first meeting with him and my first introduction into human design. And it has really given my overall life experience and the quality of my conscious experience a great boost, and overall something I would highly recommend to anyone else that's early on in their years or even months sometimes, like I was at human design.
I've been following Ian for about a year now, and I got the chance to work with him recently. The way that his knowledge of human design expands when you're in his presence to fit what you need exactly is something that is a joy to work with and a joy to see live in person.
Oh my gosh, this session was so unique because Ian really made it feel like I didn't have to worry about expectations. I didn't have to have a certain outcome be a certain way, and really helped me understand that I could just kind of ease my way into this. And he was so conversational about it that it felt like I looked up and the time had gone so quickly that I wasn't expecting it to be as much value as it was for as easy as it felt.
I definitely recommend getting a reading, getting a chance to work with Ian. He's one of the kindest souls I've met and has a really firm grasp on the information in human design. Definitely recommend.
I would recommend working with Ian for anyone that is wanting to have someone that will be both there to nurture your curiosity about human design and the fun things that you can explore about it, but also will challenge you and push you in a direction that will get you up and moving and using it in your real life. I think more than anything else, if you want to not just mentally know this system, if you want to understand how to apply it and use it and see immediate results, Ian is the person I would recommend for that. I think it is important for people to remember that this is an experiment. It is not something that you can try without trying. Like you can't get the flavor of something unless you've chewed it up and swallowed it, right? And this is one of those things where Ian does such a wonderful job of making each thing that you're experiencing understandable and allows you to apply it with repetition. So it's not just a one-time thing. You learn how to build really good habits and how to build really good ways to honor your own authority in your own life. And from there, he lets you go and then you can fly. It's pretty remarkable how well he sets up my overall experience within human design for the purpose of changing my life, which it really did.
Now, what kind of a life could she have lived with inner authority and type strategy? Wow. The power of this 3457, the power of somebody who has the raw energy of the sacral, empowered by the 57, the intuition of right now, the intuition that penetrates to the very core of what is happening in this moment. It's very intuitive, it's very subtle, it's very penetrating, and the body knows how to do these things. The body knows how to take care of itself. This is called the channel of power for a reason. You see, this splenic center is all about survival on the material plane. This is all about cleansing the system from the inside out. And the sacral is the life force energy on this planet. This is where prana comes from. So when your survival instincts and your pranic generation are connected, your body knows how to survive. I guarantee it. But only if you trust it. If your mind gets stuck in amplification fields, then your body's going to ramp up stress. And that stress is going to hurt your system. Because the thing is, there's an unconscious 360 channel here formatting everything in her body graph. This 360 is the channel of mutation. This is individual knowing in the now. This is the pulse that right now, there's nothing happening. Right now, there's nothing happening. Right now, there's nothing happening. Oh my God, there's something incredible coming through right now. There's no taming it. There's no controlling it. It's simply a new mutation coming through. A new way that form can exist on this plane. And if you let that mutation take its course, it can be beautiful. How many people she impacted with this format energy? How many people were mutated and changed in their lives by listening to her voice? And yet the 14th gate, without the 2. This is something I know. This is something I've dealt with. The 14th gate, it's raw power skills. This is incredible power, incredible skills. To be able to fill the wagon full of bounty and hopefully carry it forward in a good way. However, without the 2nd gate defined, without the full channel of the 214, the keeper of the keys, it's simply raw power that'll go in any direction. You see, the magnetic monopole sits in gate 2, and it orchestrates the entire hologram of our separation. And without that gate activated, without that channel defined, all that raw power can go anywhere for anyone's benefit or anyone's detriment. It's just raw power for power's sake, utterly unintuitively guided, led by the deepest of frustrations. Oh my gosh, the deepest of frustrations. Why can't I receive enough approval? Why do these problems keep coming up? If only somebody would give me their direction. All these things that don't matter. So many things that don't matter. They become the driving force in the life. And so it's my wish that you don't have to put up with that. Whoever you happen to be, whatever your design happens to be, that these open centers can lead you to wisdom and not suffering. So that's all I have on Amy Lee at this moment. If you've made it this far, thank you for sharing this energetic experience with me. Feel free to let me know down below if you have any comments or questions, if there's anybody you'd like to hear about. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye for now. If you have enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about how all of this applies specifically to you, then kindly refer to the link in this video's description, Private Consultation. Here, we can dive into all of the details together in a recorded call. May your signature vibration of satisfaction, success, peace, and surprise find you in a good way.